Get comfortable, everybody. Right then, Mr. Schofield. We're back again. It's episode 3 of the Sanctuary Fitness podcast, but it's now going to be known as Between Reps and Real Life. Do you like that?
Yeah, we decided on a name which was good. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I did like
I
it.
liked it.
You did something right.
Every now and again, mate, we get things right every now and again. So today we want to discuss a bit about sort of beginner mistakes, and we're going to go outline the common things that we've heard, like probably time and time again, throughout our careers. And there is a theme amongst all of them, to be quite honest. So you want to get the ball rolling, mate? What sort of things that you've heard of before?
The main ones that I come across. So I've sort of worked as management in some gyms, and the January rush as such is what we see. And you see a lot of people either passing out or throwing up. So you get. So in theory, we get going for it, dropping my calories really rapidly, and then trying to burn off everything that you've gained on that year in that first few weeks. And I've seen people pass out. I've seen people throw up. My cleaning team was quite busy at that time of year, and for me, it's gradual. That weight's gone on gradual. Why are you trying to burn it off all in those first few days, which is the huge issue, I think.
Yeah. There's definitely that. I mean, we've got there's a few in there, to be quite honest. So, like I say, people come back at January rush is your standard beginner mistake time, and people end up being almost beginners every January. Actually, even if they've done the January thing the year before, and so on and so forth. And a lot of it comes down to probably not having a plan, not having a clear understanding of their goals, their expectations, that sort of stuff. So what I've often seen is, like I say, on the no plan sort of thing, and I've been in commercial gyms, trained in commercial gyms myself, is that when they come in on that January rush, they'll roll in, and generally it's like, right, I'm in the gym, now what? And they just kind of jump on a treadmill, or they might know 3 or 4 exercises, and they'll go flog themselves to death on them for a bit, and that's where the vomiting comes in, perhaps, or something like that. And that's your kind of more like your commercial gym sort of access point into it. They kind of turn up, go into that, don't really have any support, so we've got no plan, got no idea what to do. And all that leads to generally is just demotivation, and you might do 3-4 weeks,
and we wonder why we see that January rush and then it dies off because of that.
And then all the regulars come back into the gym in February because they were waiting for the January people to leave.
It's and I think I see it a lot even at Sanctuary now. The calorie thing is quite a challenge. So we're apparently the experts. I would say apparently. So when people come to us, and even in the past, you go, right, I'm putting a calorie deficit. These are your daily calories, and they go, yeah, okay. And then the first few weeks, you're going, you're about 500 calories below the deficit that I put you in. Yeah, I thought I'd take some off. What have you taken some off? I've given you
wasn't good enough.
I've given you daily calories, and to see and calorie counting is quite a challenge anyway. So you might have to manipulate that sort of baseline. But if we're not hitting that baseline, we don't know if we need to manipulate it down or up. You've taken off 500 calories off the original number that we've dealt with, and then you wonder why I'm absolutely knackered this week, Nick. Yeah, I bet you are, mate. You're not eating.
It's where that expectation meets reality, though, isn't it? And I think that's people trying to fast forward the kind of getting rid of the weight. Well, if I just reduce what I'm eating to fuck all, then maybe we can do this quicker. Discounting the sustainability, the health effects of it, and all that type of stuff. And that, again, is one of the common beginner mistakes as well, is that kind of, where are your expectations, where are your goals at? And if your expectations are that I'm going to lose 3 stone in 4 weeks, then you've already set yourself off on a losing start, effectively. And it always comes back to motivation. That's why people disappear after those first 4 weeks up to January, and because they're demotivated, because it's, according to them, it's not working. Now, they may have lost 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds in those first 4 weeks and actually be doing all right, but because it's not the 2 stone they were hoping for, they abandon it. So they abandoned like a progressive journey where they were actually on the right path.
And I think on the calorie thing as well, the beginning mistake is, we put people like, this is your protein target. I don't care what your fats and carbs are, whatever ratio that is, but your protein, I really want you to hit that, and I want you to hit that, and then we're in a calorie deficit, and they just discount that, and they focus on, yes, calorie is king, but when we're trying to change your body composition, when you're in a deficit, it's not just fat or excess weight, but you will tap into the muscle protein, and that body composition that we're trying to keep your muscle protein synthesis high and keep that lean tissue on. So then later on, it's not as a challenge to get that on. It's a bit of everything, and that's why we try and keep and I've had my frustration trying to get people to hit your protein target. Just hit your protein target. There's other. I'm not going into the science because I try and keep it simple.
Get in the weeds.
The thermodynamics of food, and we can discuss that. But I don't want to do that. It's just simple. Aim for that protein target that your coach gives you. And also then, your calorie deficit. And if you don't know that, see a coach who can calculate that. The information's out there.
Well, that falls into your plan, doesn't it? So what is your plan when you go to the gym? It's not just, right, I want to lose weight and I'm just going to go gym. That's not a plan. I know it sounds like a plan because you didn't have that at all beforehand, but it's not a plan. Like, if you walk into the gym, no idea what you're going to train that day, what exercises you're going to do, and then when you leave that gym, it's like, well, how much food am I eating? How many calories do I need to consume? You might not even know what calories are. So, again, getting that advice, obviously, like we do at the gym, like we do at Sanctuary, speak to a coach, outline what your goals are, what are your needs. The coach will also help you actually align your goals, because, again, going back to the kind of, I want to lose 2 stone in 4 weeks. Your coach can go, right, that's probably not realistic. Let's set that at a more realistic, achievable level, which will then maintain your motivation, maintain your progress. So it's at an acceptable level that you get to stage 4, week 4 of that progress, and you go, oh yeah, I'm actually where I want to be, because it was achievable in the first place. So you've got to have some sort of a plan, and that is generally what happens. People will go in, we try to freestyle, whether it is our diet, or we just make massive cuts to our diet and end up going, well, I've just removed an entire food group, like we're not eating carbs, or I've just gone redonkulously low calories. So now I'm starving all day, every day, and all I want to do is eat the fridge. Have a bit of a plan of action, speak to your coach is definitely probably
I think
the first point of call.
Yeah, the plans, and I think we discussed it in one of the first podcasts, is there's a difference between exercising and training to a goal. You can come in like a social butterfly, hit a treadmill, go and do some weights on the machines, and not really have a plan. You don't know what reps, sets, ranges, weights. You're not tracking it, so you don't know how you're progressing. So there's a big difference between exercising and actually training for a goal. So that plan, 100%. Overarching plan, will give you that direction. And I think that's the best thing in like you keep saying, that plan is the thing. If you don't have a plan, how do you think you're gonna progress in that? Well, you don't even know how to measure that.
What do you do with anything else in life?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, if you're gonna, I don't know, redecorate the house or something like that, you go, well, I need to outline what we need to get, what we're going to do, what colour's the wall going to be, what colour's carpet, all that kind of jazz. So you'd have a plan for that. With exercise, it's just, I'm just going to go gym. which actually leads me on to another mistake, which is kind of the exercise-only approach that you see quite a lot. So there's very few people, and sometimes you get them sort of lucky ones where they're only maybe slightly overeating. So they've been gradually putting that weight on slowly over time. Then they add exercise in. So they might only be overeating, let's say, by 300, 400, 500 calories a day. They then add workouts into their week and maybe a few more steps, and all of a sudden they're losing weight because they've managed to burn that calorie off. So, but they're more like the unicorn type people. Do you know what I mean? Where you just happen to be in that sweet spot where you can just add a bit of exercising in you, and your diet's not that bad. But you do get a lot of people who kind of go, right, I've joined the gym. That's how I lose weight, and just discard any part of the diet, because obviously you don't want to give up drinking and eating and everything else that comes with that. You're just hoping that exercise is going to be the key to it all. And again, it always comes back to the same thing where you go, well, I've been flogging myself now for 6, 8 weeks, and nothing seems to have changed. And that's because you never changed diet.
Yeah.
Never changed diet, and that I see that's one of the most common things I see. Because obviously we offer member meetings at the gym, and people turn up and we get them, and they go, "Wow, yeah, I'll get my classes in, start going to classes, right? Make sure you book your member meeting with us. Come and see us in the next week or two, or something like that." Don't hear from them.
Yeah.
Then you hear from them 6, 8 weeks down the line, and they're like, "Oh, maybe I can I have a member meeting?" And it's right, okay, yeah. And which is why we try to pounce on you nice and early and try to get you in nice and early, so we can get the diet stuff outlined to them.
Yeah, I think again from past experience for me, I think you topped on it there was that the alcohol and that I like a drink, I like a drink, and I'll admit that, 25 years in the military, but
you need a drink.
Yeah, it's identifying the amount. So the amount of time that I spoke to people and go, so do you drink at the weekend? Yeah, not much. Okay, I want you to track it. Just do me a favour and just track it for a couple of weeks, and then next time I see it, they go, shit, I think I've got a problem. Yeah, most people have got a problem. Don't worry about it.
We've all got problems.
Yeah, we've just highlighted it now. And if you've already told me that it's a problem, then you realise that actually you probably wasn't realising how much you were drinking. And there was when I first got in the industry, it was a really eye opener for me. And again, I go back to like nutrition, the drinking, etc. And when you get someone to track and do the old method, you're like, here's a diary, write everything down, and they come back and they give you that diary, and you look at it and you go, they're telling porcupines here, but you go, okay, that's fine. I want you to stick to that because they're telling me what they think I want to hear. So you go, okay, yeah. That is your meal plan now for the next 4 weeks. Let's see if you can stick to that. And that again is they think that's achievable. And that is a really good starting point. Is if you think that's achievable, there you go. Yeah. That's go for that. And I think that's a really good point in terms of that.
It's the way of using that actually. I've never thought that until you said it right now. Actually, that's secondary use because it's commonplace, like you say. They'll go, "Oh, give us a week of your food and be as honest as you can." And people go, "Yeah, we will, we will." And then you find out, like, "Oh, apparently you've been eating all this is an amazing diet. Like, it doesn't seem to match up. But how you've gone wrong? I don't understand." But yeah, using it the alternative way, I actually like that where they've actually built out a meal plan for themselves.
They think that's sustainable. Well, back on then, yeah.
But again, I mean that touches back on the plan thing again, doesn't it? Like, what is your plan for your food? Do you have a plan for how you're going to get through each day, or are you just again freestyling through that day, going, well, I woke up this morning, didn't really feel hungry. I didn't really feel hungry at lunch, and then I kind of had a pack of hula hoops, and then I went to bed. It's like, well, have a plan for your food again. Are you going to eat 3 meals a day? Are you going to eat 2 meals a day? How much are you eating? All that type of stuff. Yeah, it goes back to that. But yeah, that's a good one.
I found, and the common trait, or not common trait, the common statement was you can never out-train a bad diet. And you will hear that as PTs, you'll see that, all over the place. And it's true. And like exactly what you said, I was probably one of those lucky ones that I could probably, when I was in the military, I was doing that much mileage and resistance. I probably trained twice a day that I can get away with eating.
You're just burning calories.
Yeah, I could drink at the weekend and still be quite, in good shape. And I've got that body type. But actually, it's a challenge. Now I've left the army. I'm not doing that much mileage. Actually, now I'm kind of a bit of fluff. Now, I'll always say a little bit of fluff. Let's be, normal body fat type and carrying a bit of body fat. It's normal. But now I'm carrying fluff. I've never carried fluff before. Yeah. But that's because of the again, I can't out train the diet that I'm currently eating because I just haven't got that time where I used to have to put that time in. So you
also the motivation's different. So we just say slightly onto this, but. Where, as before, you were training for combat. So being fit, being on point was very important. Yeah. Whereas now, again, what we're training for? You're training for your health, training for your well-being.
Yeah, and going back to your goals is what is your goal? And I always say your goals should change throughout your life, and, for me, as I said before, and you just mentioned there, being good at what I do in the terms of job, as I got older, it's like, well, muscle is the longevity, so I want to keep that muscle on. But also I'm at that stage now where I've got granddaughters that I want to chase around and make sure that they're safe and play with them, etc. And all that good stuff. So if we're honest, people like us, go to the gym. The back of mind, aesthetics is a hard thing. I always say, if you let's put aesthetics aside, get into some, enjoy lifting, enjoy running, enjoy all the stuff and you will adhere to that program. But the back of your mind, you want to look good naked. Do you know what I mean?
It never goes away.
It never goes away.
It never goes
away. And I think, one of our topics on the next one is, that reality, etc. But that aesthetic thing will never go away. And you just got to get that them goals have got to change with you. Do you know what I mean? And it's fundamental, I think. Yeah.
Again, goal setting. So again, the no plan,
Yeah.
of the goal setting. Where are your goals? Where are your expectations when you start out? Is your goal realistic? Is it set up in a way that's going to keep motivating you over the long term? So rather than it being I mentioned it before, I was talking about the sort of we working for a moment in time, that 2-week holiday or something, or is your goal more meaningful than that? Have you got a more long-term vision of, well, like you just outlined, well, I want to still be able to play with the kids and the grandkids, and I want to be still mobile and functional, and I don't want to be living in pain every day. Like they're good goals, and all of a sudden your training looks totally different.
Yeah.
Your diet looks totally different because your goal has shifted from, well, I need to look like Instagram, or I need to be shredded 365 days a year. Once you kind of gear shift, what am I actually working for? What actually matters to me in life? All of a sudden, and that's not to say you can't be shredded and keep a very good physique whilst getting the balance right in your life, because you definitely can. But this thing's always on a spectrum.
Yeah.
And understanding that from the outset is kind of the difficult thing, and a big part of what we do. Like I said, when we sit down, talk to the members, talk to your clients, and when you're sort of saying to them, right, where do you want to be? What does your life look like? Let's try and find how we can join this up best we can, and where realistically that is actually going to be.
Yeah.
Is a big part of it. But yeah, you touched on something there a minute ago about sort of military background and how much exercise you do. It's actually for another point in regards to beginners and the mistakes you sort of see, and that is coming in hard. You mentioned it earlier, throwing up in the gym, that type of stuff, thinking up, right, the only way I can burn off this 10 years of me putting weight on is in this first session, in this 1 hour moment, I'm going to destroy myself, even though I've not exercised for 4 years or something like that. The intensity thing. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, and I'll put in perspective one of the new members last night that joined, and it was a flash to bang. She decided that she'd had an health implications. Lovely little lady come in, 51, and when I started giving her the weights to go through the program last night, she kind of looked at me like as if to say, I don't think I need to be going heavy. I was like, no, we need to get you moving first. And I think we touched on it on last time, is when you walk out of there, you feel a bit on a high. I've done a good session, happy days. You go to roll out of bed the next day and go, shit, I've been hit with a train, and feel sore. And then that's going to put you off getting back in again. So it's just letting the body adapt slowly. There's no rush. Just slowly increase. And remember, is that key word that we use in the fitness is progressive overload. It's just increase it slowly. It's progressive. Just take it steady. Thrashing yourself again is just not gonna. It's gonna put you in the hurt locker. And don't we had some new members, or a lot of new members, lucky enough recently, and we've had people come. I felt a little bit overwhelmed on the conditioning session. Why? I felt like I was holding people back, and I felt, look, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. When you're looking at someone who is thrashing themselves in the gym, they've been coming 2 years with us, a year. They have that ability to do that. I just want you to go, and if you have to stop, then you can just give me the thumbs up and say, I'm all right, I just need a minute. I'm going to get my breath, I'm going to take some water on, I'm going to get back in there. And we would rather do that than you rolling in the next day and going, that was way too much, way too much. If I put it in the perspective of when I've worked in professional sports, when someone's doing return to play and they've just recovered from an injury, we don't go, well then, big guy, we're going for a 10K run. Yeah, that's not going to work, So we then go through a series of assessments to make sure, can you run straight? Okay, how did that hurt? Did that hurt? Did it make a reaction? the next day? Have we got any reaction? So okay, we can do more. We can do more. It's the same thing. You come in as a newbie. You're going to do some exercise. You're going to start at a low position. How did that affect me? I'm feeling a little bit sore actually. I probably a little bit overdone it. I'm still going through that alarm phase. Right, let's just give it a little bit. Right, we're going to push it again and just gradually increase that intensity.
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it? I mean, there's been so many people, to be honest, and it is one of the most common things that we just like, again, because they believe that, well, the exercise is the only key to fat loss or their goals. Come in, the first thing to get out of the way straight away is that you might as well just shelve all of that, because you're not gonna achieve the results you want in the first 3, 4, 5 sessions. Not even in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks potentially. Like you know, your goal might be a further way out from that. Break yourself in steady. Like, again, you come in, you make it the most miserable experience you possibly can, and then you're like, oh, I just hate exercise. I don't know why I hate doing it. It's like, because you made it miserable. I've told this story a million times about running. I don't do running. I don't like running. I've played football for years, right? But I used to go out on the occasional run, especially when the sun's out. I'm like, yeah, sun's out. Let's go
good.
run.
Yeah,
I love it. But in my head, even if I went out and just did 5K, which was about the limit I ever wanted to run at, because my mind just must be too active. I can't handle just me and my own thoughts, I think. But I'd go out for a 5K, but I'd have to beat this time in my head that was like, I need to be like a 20K, 20-minute type dude. You know, I've got to go out. But Tom, you never run.
Yeah.
Play football, but like you never run. What are you doing? Like, why? So I'd go out, set off like a train, and then after 3-4 minutes, be like, "This is awful.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I don't run. This is why do I bother? I'm not doing this."
It's and if you're looking at like let's say aerobic capacity, you know, to try and improve aerobic capacity, a lot of it is that you just want to do. We thrash ourselves. Even the military. I used to go for a running with a mate who eventually went into special force, and they go, "We'll go for a steady state run." I'd sort of think in my head, going, I know what he's like. This is not going to be steady state. and you know, we set off, and I'm looking at my watch, going, mate, I'm in zone 5 already. Do you know what I mean? So he's in zone 2 and just easing it off and just, you know, getting in there. It's just nice and steady, you know.
You make it a lot easier, and you can actually enjoy the session.
Yeah,
Again, going back to that learning phase that we spoke about, it's like you come in, just break yourself in. I'll do it. If I put it this way, like my cardio is not where it used to be right now, like in regards to like doing Metcon sessions, circuit training, that type of stuff, running. So I'm not going to go out there and try to thrash myself as a PT. I'm going to go, right, all right, first session, I'm going to break myself in steady. I'm not going to pick the weights up I normally would within a circuit. I'm not going to try and achieve the amount of reps I would for a given exercise within a certain time period, whatever. I'm going to break it in nice and easy. Make it, when we spoke about the RPE last time, right, I'm going to work at like a 7 out of 10. I'm going to deliberately try not to push myself to 10 out of 10. Goes back to what we said before as well about when new guys come into the gym, give me 50%.
Yeah.
This first week, I just want 50% out of you. The next week, we can look at 60, 70, and we'll build up nicely. And then that way, you won't feel like being in a car accident. Your body's going to adapt way better. You're going to enjoy the process. And maybe you'll actually get to the end of wanting to achieve your goal because you've not quit halfway through because you've made it the most miserable experience in your whole life.
And consistency. We say that all the time, consistency. When you thrash yourself, you can't be consistent because you are in a whole world of hurt. And you've got to remember, and I explained to a few members the other day, is if you thrash yourself, you put yourself in a fatigued position. And then when you come in and try and train again the next day, you're in a fatigued position. You're never going to perform that well because you're already fatigued. So firstly, you know, don't thrash yourself so you can be consistent and give yourself a little bit of rest. Make sure the body adapts. Otherwise, you're constantly smashing yourself and you're just making that fatigue position go lower and lower and lower, and the body then struggles to.
Well, especially if you couple that with you've gone on your super restrictive diet, where you've gone on
you sleep shy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because it's bound to be because you've got so much stress in the system from not eating enough and destroying yourself in the gym. This is why we're going through this today at the end of the day, because these all marry up. So you've got, I'm going to just consult the board quickly for the points that we put up there. No plan, exercise only, too intense, diet too restrictive. So we've covered that slightly, but yeah, that's definitely on there. Again, either too restrictive in terms of volume. So how many calories are you eating? Have you given yourself enough to be able to achieve your goal, but also still live
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and sustain your health fundamentally. But also, is that diet, has it got enough variety in it to see
Yeah.
you through at least a few weeks, and then you can add a bit to it and keep playing with it. Don't Anyone can give you chicken, rice, and broccoli, 3 meals a day. Do that for 12 weeks. Maybe you'll stick out 12 weeks if you're kind of disciplined, and then you'll get great results off it, but it's not sustainable. So again, finding
Yeah, and I think
some balance to that.
when I do the check-ins with the team and the members, is I don't overload them with action points. So this is your action plan for this week. I'm going to give you 3 action points, and it might be 3 food changes, it might be 3 interventions for your nutrition, it might be something else, but I'm going to give you 3 actionable points that you should be able to reasonably do well. If I overload and go, here's 6 actionable points, you're going to say, shit, I can't do that, and they fall to it. So steadily, and like I say, with the nutrition, just nice and steadily get them actionable points, so we're not overwhelming you. So then we're just changing things every week, every month, every year,
Habits.
and we're betting ourselves. It's getting those habits.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's easy to overload. I mean, I think when we first started and when we first started doing member meetings, I was like machine gunning information into people. It's like get that down you, and then you leave and you think, yeah, they know everything now, and it's like they've left just absolutely
overwhelmed.
brain
Yeah, yeah.
And then they've gone away and actually not actioned any points because I don't know where to start. It was all so confusing. There was so much going off. So like building a house or building a wall, brick on brick. Like I say, get the consistency first. Then we you might have a very rudimentary sort of diet, which might not be the most exciting to start off with, but we can build on that, and we can build on top of that, and then we can look at performance, and then there's little things like sleep and all this type of stuff. We can just slowly, again, you're learning, you're a student on the way, but don't have a too restrictive diet. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. This is how it's got to be. You've got to give yourself a bit of enjoyment. Again,
definitely.
That real life meets your goals, meets your balance. So, on goals, expectations. Have we covered that, do you reckon? We've got that point in there.
I think we have. Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I think
he's happy with that.
I think that's probably cover comparison.
Okay.
I think comparisons.
We can do that.
We see that a lot, and I get I still think, oh God, he looks hench. I won't mind looking like him.
He looks hench.
Yeah, let's manage expectations. And I think for beginners, it's we're going to cover social media in the future. I know we're going to cover social media in the future, but you sit there streaming, looking at people, and beginners will say, that's what I want to look like. That's the physique I need, and we have to sort of go, well, the training age. Firstly, there's massive age difference. There's going to be a massive age difference. So they're in it's dead easy to keep in good shape when you're in your 20s. And then when, we're getting a little bit older, it's getting a little bit more challenging.
Nothing else to do but train.
Yeah. You've got no stresses in your life, but the other thing is the training age. You're looking at someone who's been training for a while, who knows how their body reacts. They know how to eat, etc. And they've built that from being a beginner. So as a beginner, don't worry about that too much, about that sort of comparison. The only comparison we should be doing is you from last week, the month before, etc.
It's a cliche, isn't it? But it's 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
100% the truth. And there's the social media comparison. I mean, half the time you're comparing yourself to a lie anyway, because it's heavily filtered, it's heavily doctored. There's been 1,000 of those pictures taken. That dude's on roids. That girl's been photoshopped. Whatever it is. But the comparison within the gym can be the demotivator as well. And that, again, this is kind of on the theme of the beginner mistakes, is these are all demotivators and points that are going to take you off your path and maybe force you to abandon what you're trying to achieve. And you go in the gym as a day one noob, and then you look around the gym and you see 5, 10, 15-year veterans, and it's, why am I not like that? Or I'm crap compared to that person, or they're all going to judge me because I'm new. And I mean, that definitely doesn't happen at our place because, we're a community gym, so we have the advantage of having the culture that's different to maybe your average commercial gym. But by and large as well, most people aren't dicks in the gym. Most people, there is dicks in the gym, but most people aren't, and they will They will help you. They'll
Yeah.
respect and appreciate the fact that you're starting your journey. So you can actually have to ask them for help, or they might even reach out to you. But comparing yourself to someone who's been in years and years and
Yeah.
years is you're not there. Like you say, compare yourself to who you were last week. What did you achieve last week? That's a good one as well, actually. What did you achieve last week?
Yeah.
Rather than what just the scale said, or what this said, or what that said.
What was your mini victory?
What were the mini
what was it,
victories?
you
Yeah.
know, and I, again, you know, your mini victories are the ones going to keep you going, you know, but you've got to look at those mini victories. And exactly what you said is, oh, I went upstairs at work. There's loads of stairs. I didn't use the lift. That's for me a mini victory. Oh, I put me pants on, or me without being pain.
Always a
Or
winner.
I've got some clothes on that I haven't worn in a while,
Yeah,
but the scales haven't changed and things like that. But going back to comparison, I think the biggest thing that I see is, and again, I've seen it this week again, is they come in and do conditioning. And the way I try and explain it to people, come in and do conditioning, and we'll have some of the long-term members, you're absolutely going for it. And they're saying, I don't want to hold people up, or why can't I be like that? And go, well, if I put heart rate monitors on both of you, their heart rate might be, I don't know, 160. Put a heart rate monitor on you, you're doing barely what they're doing, but yours is like 180. Which internally, you're working the hardest out of both of them. So you've got to put that in comparison. Yeah, they look like they're lifting more. They look like they're moving quicker. But actually, you're working hard. Your heart rate is indicating that. So you have to stop comparing that. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, and it's a great statement.
100%
Yeah.
100% true. Again, it's one of those things as well. It can be used in both ways. Most of the time, it ends up being a negative thing for people who come in and like I say, they're beginning out, and it can be demotivating, but it can be inspiring. Again, like you look at some of these people and you think, if you actually do talk to them, or like we as we do, and you hear their journeys, you think actually we were the same. Like in regards to what our starting points were, but she's just 5 years ahead of me, or 3 years ahead of me, whatever it might be. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what, mate, I could achieve that. I could be the same as her. I can work my fitness up to her level and use it as a motivating factor rather than a demotivating. But it is always a tricky one. Comparison is the thief of joy. As they say. So yeah, going back to the sort of mini victories. Compare yourself to who you were last week. Compare yourself to where you were week before that, before you started. We use it all the time when we talk about you did 3 sessions last week or 5 sessions this week. Add that up over a month. What did you do last month? You weren't in the gym at all. You've done 20, 25 sessions this month. That's great. Like there's a victory. Like compare yourself to that person who you were before that. Take them wins. That's where comparison is the be all and end all, isn't it, at the end of the day. So we're gonna come on to the very last one. I think we've touched on it already. We probably need to wrap this up a little bit because
we're gobbing off.
Not me. I've offered on loads this time. So I think this is going to come up a lot, this one, the old consistency chat. We've already mentioned it, so we won't go into war and peace on it. But yeah, that lack of consistency. So people choose intensity over consistency. That leads to, obviously, like I say, people getting sore, getting demotivated, not coming back to the gym. Focus on your consistency. First beginner mistake is that you try to go too hard, too restrictive, too extreme, and then you abandon the process. Fundamentally, get your 3 sessions in a week, 5 sessions in a week, get your calories every day. Just be consistent. Hasn't got to be perfect. Just be consistent.
Yeah. I'll sort of, I've just taken on a client on my own separate stuff, and they've not got a program yet. So I was like, let's just get into it nice and slowly. What I want you to do is consistently just track your food. That's what I want you to do. I want to get you some steps. I want you to get the basics. Once we've got used to that, then I'm going to devise a program for you, and it'll just be nice and light and get back into it. And that's just breaking them in nice and gently. Let's get the basics right. Just starting off, and your New Year's resolutions is, I'm going to eat better. I'm just going to eat better for the first couple of weeks. I've ate better now. Great. Right. I'm going to get some steps in. That's going to be really good. I'm going to get out. And then once the January rush is gone, guess what? You could go be part of those people that join in February and go, do you know what? Now I need to start doing exercise. And we do it in a nice sort of, sequential sort of order as such. Yeah. Bit of military
words out
terms.
there.
Yeah. And yeah, just get the basics. I always say, get the basics.
Nail the basics.
And then the consistency is then, in 3 months' time, you're like, shit, this is where I'm standing now. I've got everything pretty much, on par. I've just now got to keep chipping away at it. Yeah.
It's all that matters. And let's say one final sort of story I remember hearing. It was a UFC coach was talking about it actually, and he was talking about how the Russian wrestlers train. He says they train every day. They don't train 110% every day, but they train every day. He says, but the American wrestlers, they were training 3 times a week, but super savage, smashing themselves into oblivion. But you extrapolate that out to 365 days across the year. You've got the Russians who've trained 365 days. You've got the Americans who've trained, maths, 150 odd times a year. So that multiplied over time is massive.
Yeah.
So you can get that consistency in. That's why they're so much better.
Yeah.
That's why they perform so much better. And they're also not destroying themselves because they've not been destroying themselves constantly every single training session. They just train, keep the body moving, keep greasing the wheels.
Greasing those wheels.
Yeah. But I've always liked that as kind of analogy in regards to consistency over intensity. And again, you look at it over a longer period of time, it's you've been coming, you've done all these sessions.
Yeah.
Because you've been able to do all these sessions because you have not destroyed yourself doing it. So consistency is always key.
Massive.
Should we wrap it up there?
I think we should.
Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
How long was that?
36 minutes.
That's not too bad.